Today I'm going to talk about desk pens. This comes in black too. Um, why desk pens? They come with a little stand, they come with the pen. The pen comes with a cap. You can take off the cap and then you can use the stand as a cap. You can see this little golden ring disappears when it's when you get it in all the way. Why would someone need this in the 21st century? Sorry, I'm totally hoarse today. I'm just getting over being sick. We're going to talk about that in this video, and I'm going to show you how one of these works and why I like them and why I have this one on my desk. All right, so this fountain pen comes like any other. It's got, a fountain pen cap, nib, a screw out section because it's a cartridge or converter pen. I've got a converter here that I'll be using it with. And then you've got just the base, right? The holder. And the way it works is you simply, add your ink in the cartridge and then store it sealed, capped essentially here, which is just another capping mechanism, which will keep the pen from drying out, right? That's kind of the important part. Or if you're truly not, if it's not in use, you cap it here and you can store this out of the way. So this folds back down. This is an articulated little piece. So you can have this at whatever angle makes sense for you, or fold it down if you're done using it for a while. So I'm gonna get this inked up and let's do a quick writing test. Obviously the fastest way to get this going would be to take the sealed cartridge, pop it in, push hard till it pops, and then wait a few minutes for the ink to be drawn up to the nib. But I'm gonna use a converter, which is just a cartridge-shaped tube, plastic tube that you can fill with whatever ink you like. And I'm about to fill it with, I think it's Robert Oster Lake of Fire, I believe. Okay, it's been a few minutes. Let's get this pen set up the way that we would for writing. And then let's write a bit. I've got here an Apica CD15 notebook. I think it's a B5 notebook. B5 is my favorite size. And just as if this were on your desk, let's start writing. And as you can see, with an extra fine Japanese nib, that's where my handwriting really begins to fall apart. It ain't pretty at the best of times, but this really brings out the worst of my handwriting. So you'll have to forgive that, and we'll just do a kind of quick writing test. Yeah, so the nib is great. I mean, it's an extra fine, but doesn't feel scratchy, even kind of going against the grain, as it were. So like instead of down and to the right, kind of going up and to the left, down and to the left, that kind of stuff. Okay, I think I have enough to at least form a first impression of this pen's like pure nib to paper writing experience. First of all, the nib itself is lovely. It's a true extra fine in my mind. It is, certainly a small nib, but it looks good. It's a styling nib. Let me see if I can get better light on this. Yeah, it's a nice little nib. It reminds me very much, and I'm about to test this theory, it reminds me very much of, an extra fine Plaisir. I have a fine that I use, actually that my wife uses as a kind of daily driver, but I'm going to compare it to this just in terms of writing experience. It reminds me very much of that platinum nib feeling, right? Which is you put nib to paper and it's like you feel the paper. It's not glassy or like extra over polished smooth. I happen to really like that. I like to feel the texture of the paper that I'm writing on. Some people don't want that. They want to feel either stiffer, more flexible kind of nib that gives you that like distant feeling, like you're further away from the paper, like you're less feeling the little microscopic bumps in the paper fibers and stuff. I kind of like that. I like to feel what I'm writing on. For me, it's a super tactile experience to write with a fountain pen, and I like that. Of course, I did say that I had a Pelikan before, so I also like super smooth, glassy, wet writing experiences. This is kind of the opposite of it, but in no way does that mean this is a scratchy nib or anything that feels uncomfortable in terms of feedback. It's still significantly less feedback than you'd get on, I don't know, like a Sailor, for example, which are obviously famous for feedback. But you do have some you just, yeah, it is, I would say, light pencil-like feedback. Light, really light, like a really soft pencil. The vibrations are soft. They're a little bit like kind of lower. You know, sometimes you can get that really high frequency vibration. Some pens that kind of like sing, or they feel like it's all treble. This is a very comfortable type of feedback here with the nib. Let's talk about ergonomics. This pen, I've got about a 9-inch wingspan on my kind of like thumb to tip of my pinky. I think it is very comfortable for that. As a result, some pens are a little bit small in the section for me. This one is actually very comfortable. So in other words, this portion here where you actually grip the pen, it's smooth, it's long, which I really like, and very comfortable to hold, and also wide enough that I think I could actually write for quite a while with this without getting hand strain. Some pens, especially smaller pens, specifically thinner pens, have a thin enough section where, let me think, Hongdian M2 is a good example of this, right? Like pocket pen, thin section. A Kaweco Lilliput is like this. A Kaweco Sport is like this. Like I have a Sport brass that I love, but I just can't do a prolonged writing session because the pen itself is quite thick, but the section is thin enough that as I grip this, if you can imagine the section being thinner, it's just enough to kind of cramp the hand. So this does not have that problem. I actually find it quite ergonomic. It's very light. This is a light plastic body. I would say on the verge of feeling cheap. It is a utilitarian pen, certainly. But not in an uncomfortable way. Like I wouldn't pick this up and be like, oh, a cheap pen. It's just like a pen that's exactly what it is, right? Like it is great for exactly what it's for, which is being a desk pen, or possibly even a kind of communal pen at a hotel desk or something else in a kind of like communal space where anybody could pick this up and quickly, write a log in the logbook, or a name into a register, or that kind of thing. Likewise, I compared this to Pilot VP or something like that in my head, because it does seem like that, there's nothing to really unscrew. The pen is kind of always in the place. It's not going to be in a case or a pocket. It's something you can get to quickly when it's on your desk. So it does have that utility, like something you would want for jotting down quick notes as you go, as you're in meetings at work or whatever. Just like pop this out and, you're on Zoom, right? You're like, write some stuff, pop it back in. And then, that's a quick action. You can do that about as fast as you can think of wanting to do it. And for things like that, I think this pen is awesome. I'm certainly going to be using it over the next few weeks to kind of experiment and see how it fits in terms of just like a pure utility perspective. So what's the summary here? Like, what are we talking about? We're talking about whimsy. Why do any of us use fountain pens, right? No one put a gun to our heads and told us we had to do this. Yes, for pretty much everything you write, unless you have like serious hand health issues or other things, 30-cent Bic would be plenty. Plenty of writing power for you to exercise the greatest technology humans ever invented, which is probably the written word. But why? Well, it's like anything else in fountain pens, right? Like, why do I own a Pelikan M800? It's like, is that the minimum I need to express my thoughts on paper? No, obviously not. That's not why most of us are doing this or into this. It's exciting because it's a unique writing experience. It's like a little piece of history. It's just something analog in a very digital world that, for what it's worth, can be integrated into the modern world very well, and almost as a superpower, or kind of like a lost skill that is actually very powerful. Note-taking on paper is much, much better and more effective than note-taking digitally, both in terms of memorization, durable learning, understanding concepts, and in terms of like pleasure, slowing things down, being a little bit more in the moment. That's why I do this. That's why I enjoy fountain pens in general. And to bring it back to this pen specifically, this is a fun gadget to have on your desk. It's a throwback to, a 1920s hotel in the south of France. You walk in, there's a desk pen sitting there waiting for you to sign the register. If any of you saw, what is it, that Netflix show, Ripley, right? there was someone posted a montage of all the fountain pen centric shots in that movie and on our fountain pens on Reddit. It's just a beautiful way to elevate one of these things that we do, writing. And this is a beautiful way to make it a little more nostalgic and interesting. Have a little conversation starter on your desk, or just have a little bit of, and I use this word carefully, a little bit of whimsy in your day-to-day life. Why not have a cool little desk pen that you whip this baby out and write some notes, then cap it again in there, and you're ready to go again. I don't know. It's the convenience of a Pilot, VP or Decimo, and in a much more affordable package. Again, red or black. I'm just kind of showing you the red one because I didn't have any shots of this on the Bottle and Plume website. And if you're interested, then there's just no reason not to get these, right? Like have one. I don't know, they're fun. If I was a good businessman, I probably wouldn't stock these, but if you haven't guessed it, I'm not doing this for the profit. Yeah, so there you go. Not a lot of demand for these in the modern world, but I think they're just fun to have. So if you think these kinds of things are fun, then yeah, check them out on bottleandplume.com. And thank you for watching and tolerating my, absence of a real voice today. Peace.